This is Ingredient Insiders. I'm John Magazzino.
And I am Andrea Parkins.
On each episode of Ingredient Insiders, we'll be talking with chefs, food writers, cheesemongers about their favorite ingredients.
We then will speak to the producer, the farmer, the cheesemaker, and learn its history, how it's made, and how chefs are using it in their kitchens.
Andrea, you'd been to Oregon before this visit?
Oh yeah, plenty of times. I love it. I love Portland, Oregon, the state. I love it there.
So we got a chance to go out to Tillamook, Oregon, which is the name of a town.
Yes.
Is it the name of the county too?
It could be. It's right on the Oregon coast.
It's the name of obviously one of the most well-known and revered brands of cheddar cheese. And I got to tell you, our visit there was totally cool, way exceeded expectations.
Oh, yeah. I think I was expecting, I don't know, maybe something
like a
very
big, boring cheese factory?
Yeah, like commercialized and just kind of like factory, line of cheese coming down the conveyor belt type thing. But I was blown away by the quality of the cheese and also the quality of the food at the Tillamook Creamery.
Yeah, I know we talk about this in the episode that you got to go visit the place if you're ever in Oregon and you're ever out that way, because to your point, they have like a food court inside the Tillamook cheese. I don't even want to call it a cheese factory because they've got a beautiful retail store. And they've got...
It's almost like a museum.
Exactly. It's a cheese museum. It's a homage to the great Oregon cheddar.
But John, when you were walking in to the food court, what were your expectations?
I was like, okay, so they got a snack bar here that looks pretty nice, and they got an ice cream stand. I got to tell you, I was like, I bet the ice cream's really good because obviously they had all this good fresh dairy. But then they had like sheet tray pizza advertised. I was like, are they going to put cheddar on this pizza, which kind of freaked me out. And I was looking at the menu and I'm like, okay, you know what? Grilled cheese, maybe. Okay. And, they've got mac and cheese, probably pretty okay. But again, they're serving, I think they said they get like 10,000 visitors a day. So how could anything be? How good could anything be? Oh my God. Maybe some of the best pizza in the country, to be quite honest.
100%.
Perhaps the greatest mac and cheese I've ever had in my life, with this like pretzel crumble on top. Genius.
The grilled cheese.
Amazing bread cooked in butter.
And mayonnaise.
And their cheese, the Tillamook cheddar. Forget about it. And then the ice cream with the fresh dairy that's, that they're milking the cows next door. It's probably worth it to go visit that place just to go eat.
Absolutely. I feel like if I lived in the area, like that would be a place where I would take my family for dinner.
I'd be there 5 days a week
100%.
if I lived in Tillamook. I don't think there's a lot of options in Tillamook. I mean, I'm sure there's a few.
Yeah.
But this is damn good.
Absolutely. And also what I really enjoyed was that there's ice cream flavors there that you can't get anywhere else.
Oh, like the exclusive ice cream flavors. Like, what did they have?
They had the huckleberry.
Yeah.
They had, was it mulberry as well? Like a mulberry pie. Oh, they were incredible.
All right. Well, this is going to be an awesome episode. We're talking to Josh Archibald, who is the executive chef and culinary director of
Culinary Development.
Yep, Culinary Development. And we just had such a great time there. I think you're really going to enjoy this episode, talking about cheddar cheese at Tillamook Dairy in Tillamook, Oregon. This episode is in partnership with the Chef's Warehouse and produced by Gotham Production Studios in New York City. How are we so lucky that we get to travel to some of the most beautiful places in the world to visit some of the most fascinating food makers in the world? And today, I'm looking out the window here at the Oregon sky. I see these amazing pine trees and forests and
they're really incredible.
Hills. And I see like a dairy barn outside that says Tillamook on it. and we are here today with Josh Archibald, who is the executive chef of culinary development at the Tillamook Creamery. That was a big mouthful. Did I say that right?
You did a good job.
And I got to tell you, this place is incredible.
I had no idea what we were walking into. Like, I'm picturing, I don't know, just kind of, a bunch of cows and, some ice cream makers. But this is like a massive, huge operation.
I feel like I just walked into the Disney World of cheese making, and it is stunning, like incredible.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Josh.
Thanks for being here, guys. Welcome to Tillamook. We're so excited that you took the time to prioritize coming out to the coast. We know we're kind of in the middle of the nowhere, and we like it that way.
I just have one problem. You know what that is?
What is it?
I mean, I got a lot of problems, as you know.
Where's that list?
The problem I have right now is we've been here for, we took
over
a nice
an
tour.
hour.
I haven't eaten any cheese yet.
Not a piece.
So they said there's cheese.
Right.
We're going to have cheese, but I don't believe them.
We'll see.
I saw cheese being made. I saw cows being milked.
They have an incredible store,
a production
with a whole
line.
wall of cheese.
They had it was like a fantasy land of cheese and things, and they said we could even take things to try.
I don't know where it is.
Haven't had a piece of it.
Well, we'll see what happens in the next 40
is it
minutes.
Real? Okay, well, yeah, we'll see. So when I think of Tillamook, I think of Oregon, but I think of cheddar cheese, which is the ingredient today. Talk to us about cheddar cheese. Just what is, I mean, I think most people know what cheddar cheese is, but what is cheddar cheese?
Yeah, so we've been here on the Oregon coast for 115 years, and we're owned by a farmer co-op, and we started making cheddar cheese. Now, we didn't invent it, obviously. It came from across the pond. But the American style of cheddar cheese, we like to think that we've been making for long enough that we're synonymous with kind of what we consider cheddar cheese in this country.
Cheddar's a process. Is it a
It's
place?
called cheddaring.
Isn't there
right,
a place
Josh?
in England called like cheddar? I don't even know.
There is a place.
What is cheddar?
That's where Tony Baker's from Baker's Bacon.
Oh, that Tony Baker.
Yeah, you know Tony.
Got it. Okay.
So tell us about cheddaring, Josh.
Yeah, so cheddaring is actually the process of curds that have been separated from the whey at that point, and they are kind of tossed upon each other, and then they start to get salted through that process. And those curds want to knit together and actually form a block of cheese. We give them a little bit of help with some pressure to try to form a full block of cheese, and we do a 40-pound block, and that's a big differentiator for us. And then we send that to age, and that's what we consider to be cheddar. It can be yellow and it can be white. On the West Coast, yellow is more prevalent, I think, and on the East Coast, white is a little more prevalent. So as we've grown, our production of white has increased also. So you'll catch both. The only difference is the addition of annatto. And it was added actually a long time ago when we didn't have as good of control over what animals were eating. When they went to pasture in the spring and summer, their milk actually had a little bit of a green tinge to it. And when they were on storage crop through the fall and winter, their milk had a little bit of a gray tinge. So someone went looking for consistency there and went looking for the cheapest option available, and that was annatto.
Interesting.
And started adding it. And so you see kind of variable colors of orange, but that orange iconic loaf for us is, while we didn't invent it, we are well known for it, especially on the West Coast.
Amazing. Are you a cheddar
Oh my God.
cheese eater?
I think it's my go-to. Like we have we don't just have a piece of cheddar in our fridge. We have a cheese drawer.
Yeah.
Like the two crisper drawers. So
Excellent.
The left drawer is just for cheese
Yes.
in our house. We're very proud of that.
Yes.
And I will say at home, I was telling Josh yesterday at the expo, we buy the Tillamook cheddar. They have the thick shreds, which I think are kind of new. And that's, our Tillamook staple for us.
What do you make with it?
And we put on everything. Eggs. If, we're making tacos, Mexican food, burgers, you name it. Most of the time, I'm actually standing in front of the fridge. The door's still open. The drawer's still open, and I'm just eating it out of the bag.
I feel like cheddar is like one of the most universal cheeses in the world. That because you just said as you were saying it, I was thinking cheddar maybe on a burger. Very American.
Mm-hmm.
But then you just mentioned tacos.
Mac and cheese.
Right? Mac and cheese.
Mm-hmm.
But it kind of goes with everything.
Yeah, I think it's a very approachable cheese for, people who may doesn't have, unless it's very aged. It's very mild.
Right.
It's
and
creamy.
It melts well.
Right.
So it can be used as a cooking ingredient, which we'll talk to you, Josh, about. But it also, there's those amazing aged cheddars, which they keep telling us about. I still haven't tasted.
Yep.
I'm just wondering.
Do you think they actually have cheese here, or is that all like styrofoam blocks?
Maybe that was all just a big show. Like, and
were those actors?
Yeah, were those actors in the factory? Was that styrofoam box, or was that real cheese?
We built this whole facility for
Tillamook's
you guys this morning.
I think it was just a big plastic. Yeah, okay.
There's a big blow up.
I won't believe it until it's in my mouth. I got to taste it. But on a serious note, let's talk about sharpness and age and all these things that frankly, I get a little confused. Like, can everything be used to make mac and cheese, or is there? Josh, tell us about the different types of cheddar.
Yeah.
And what are the best uses for them?
Yeah. So as cheddar ages, moisture content within that cheese changes, and so our medium cheddar, which is we don't do a mild cheddar, and it's important to recognize that there's no federal regulations over what constitutes a mild cheddar or a medium cheddar or a sharp cheddar. So we have some competition that actually takes milk to a cheese product that they call sharp cheddar, and we'll take it to market in about 3 weeks. For us to go to market with our sharp cheddar, that's a 9-month process, and we want to be real transparent about that. So it's on the package, like it says, aged for 9 months. Our medium cheddar is aged for at least 60 days. That's from the day that it is made until the day that we decide to package it. It has to be at least that long.
So there's no actual government rule on that labeling. Okay,
which is why you can see commodity options at the grocery store. They're labeled sharp. They just have some additives to them to make them taste a little sharper, right? To kind of fake that flavor.
And time is money.
So
it's sitting on the shelf aging while others are almost forcing the process in order to make money.
Yeah. Yeah. So we live by this culture of better than we have to be, right?
Right.
You could not design a more expensive way to do this because we're so inventory heavy and it's such a big commitment financially to hold that inventory for so long. But it's still, we believe, the right way to do it. It's how we've been doing it for 115 years. And we're so proud of that. And it is a differentiator for us. So, when we're talking melting in applications like quesadillas and we're talking nachos and we're talking grilled cheese sandwiches, I love our sharp at 9 months. It is our icon. It's the cheese I use most of at my own home. Medium's nice too, especially if you have a finicky eater or a young eater. That sharp flavor can be prominent and can maybe be overpowering for someone that's new to that. And then as we get in, and I love the sharp also because at 9 months I feel like it's got enough flavor that I can break off pieces of it and just have it as a snack, right? But it's still flexible enough for most of the things I'm doing in my kitchen. As you get into a 15-month yellow cheddar and then you get into a 2-year white cheddar, I'm almost always cold applications with those. I like to chunk them off into salads. I like to use them like you see a lot of those Italian cheeses use it, with a microplane finishing a pizza as it comes out of the oven or finishing risotto or anything along those lines too.
Because it's lost that moisture.
Yes.
So it is more crumbly and less melty.
Yes, it's brittle. And then when it does melt, which it will, it tends to have an oil separation that happens. And that's because it's a natural process and we're not adding anything to kind of stabilize or prevent that. We don't want to do that because it kind of goes against what we stand for.
The more we talk about cheddar, the more I want to taste cheddar.
I almost said, I'm like, funny. I still don't have
I was thinking about it because usually when I get a burger, I usually put American cheese on it.
Same.
But now that we're talking about this, I'm dying to have a burger with cheddar on it.
Josh, can we make that happen?
There's ways we can make that happen.
No, I'm not
I'm
suggesting
totally
we eat a burger right now, but it's making me think I want to be a cheddar burger guy.
Yeah, I mean,
like a bacon cheddar burger. How good does that sound?
Sounds amazing. I think there's moments for American and moments for cheddar.
Yeah.
And right now, it's a moment
We're
for
in cheddar country.
We are. Oh.
So this place has been open 100+ years.
As a farmer-owned co-op, started 115 years ago this year.
I thought one of the most fascinating things I learned while we were here is they've got this giant ship outside, like a big sailboat. Tell us about that story. They used to take the ship
before the roads around here were developed, right,
so
Josh?
long ago, because we drove, an hour and a half from Portland through beautiful forest land and what you would picture Oregon to look like.
Absolutely. Side note, if you've never driven to the Oregon coast, do it.
It's like the land of the Goonies.
Yes.
We're not that far from that.
An hour from the Goonies if you come to Tillamook.
That's Astoria, Oregon. What is this, Oceanside?
Yeah, so you've got Bay City, which is just a couple miles north, and Oceanside and Netarts are a couple miles west. We've got a highly requested delivery. It looks like it's arriving here.
Are you kidding me? Oh my God, Andrea! As if is it capture this on video? Is this on video? Are you taking photos?
Wow!
Is it real?
Is that
real?
cheese?
Is that real or is this a prop?
Are you sure?
That doesn't look real.
Are you an actor?
Thank you.
You're not.
These are are you paid actors?
No? Okay.
All right. Okay.
All right, Josh, take us through.
I will be quiet
As
now.
promised, and they were nice enough to write me a little key. The reason I didn't have this ready for you is because I wanted you to pick the cheeses we were going to try. There's a big. You saw all the styrofoam packages down there. Right?
Yeah.
There's a big plethora of offerings.
All right. So just for everybody listening at home or wherever you are, we've just been presented with the most beautiful board of cheese. And there's even some crackers on there, and there's even some like beautiful
These
like
green
pickled
beans.
string beans, haricot vert.
Yep.
And
it looks like it's not just the cheddar. It looks like there's also some curds on
there's
here.
6 types of cheese on this board. Talk to us. What are we looking at here?
Yeah. So first off, and I love sharing this one. We don't sell this product anywhere, but here at the creamery, at our location at the Portland Airport, and then we have a farm store actually to assist our farmers that's here in Tillamook. That's the only 3 places. We have people that travel all over the world to get these from this building, right? And people that would like to buy them, and we just will not do it. Anytime that we're selling cheese curds, we're not making cheese, and we need to be making cheese. When you're trying to balance milk arriving and production, it's really fun to do this, but it cannot be the focus of our business, right?
What is a cheese curd? Isn't that what poutine is? Like,
Yep.
what is a cheese curd?
Yeah, it separates. You know, the little Miss Muffet sat on her tuffet eating her curds and whey,
Yeah, I've heard
right?
that.
So you take the milk, you add the rennet, and it separates
Yeah.
the curd and the whey.
So
So that's the curd.
this is
And this is made by Little Miss Muffet.
Yeah, I saw her
herself.
downstairs.
She was in the
She's
back.
so cute.
She might have been on break.
So
but-
what do you just eat cheese curds straight
yes,
up?
Yes, you do. So it's interesting to try them. They're very salty. They've got a little bit of squeak to them if you're not familiar with them. We do a battered and fried version of these on the menu downstairs also here.
Delicious.
So this is the last step before it becomes cheese. So this
Got
is
it.
the first step of kind of making the cheese. And we're going to go all the way up to a cheese that was produced in 2012.
Wow.
So-
Let me do some quick math here. Hold on a second. It's 2024.
Uh-huh.
Okay, minus the 4. That's 2. That's 12 years old.
Yes.
Right.
That's almost as old as Andrea.
So I love
Yep.
to.
What are you, 16 now?
Yep, child labor laws at CW are
12-year-old
Real
cheddar.
loose.
How long can you age cheddar? Like, what's the oldest cheddar you've ever seen?
Actually, just a few months ago, I was able to get in front of a sealed package of produced, and you could still see the label and the production date. It was ours that someone had tucked away for a very long time. I had a 1976 and a 1978.
Wait,
Were you even
Yes.
alive then?
no, I was born in 1995. I think. Well, how old does that make me? Wait. You had 40-year-old cheddar.
Yeah.
What did
And-
that taste like?
Was it like lost in someone's like pantry?
Did it
you-
like crumble?
was
Like,
It was very
You
brittle.
were okay after you ate it.
Yes, absolutely.
That's amazing.
Almost no moisture content to it. It was brittle. The 78 was a little better than the other one, but it was worth trying just to have the experience,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
To be able to sit here and say, we have some stuff tucked away in all sorts of places that just kind of appears, and
That's incredible.
the team. There's a group of us, colleagues of mine here, that get really excited, just
Yeah.
even if it's not great, like just to be able to say that it happened and
of course.
we did that. So, as far as our makers line, we focus on a 10-year-old cheddar, but sometimes due to kind of influxes in inventory, I can find some stuff that's 12 to 13 to 14 years old,
Wow.
which is about when we kind of started that very long-term aging. I love to point out that you can't take a cheese that long without starting with a perfect product. Any imperfections in that first product will just compound as it gets older.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really a pride thing for us to be able to showcase this. It means that we've done the perfect techniques all through the process, right? From cows on farms, from our owners, to then shipping milk, transporting milk, going through the process, the aging process, the make process.
This season of Ingredient Insiders is brought to you by Bizzini Nuts, a name synonymous with exceptional quality and taste in the world of gourmet nuts and dried fruits. Whether you're crafting a Michelin star-worthy dish or just whipping up something delicious in your home kitchen, Bizzini's premium selection is designed to inspire your culinary creativity. Elevate your dishes with the rich texture and flavors that only Bizzini nuts can offer. From toasted almonds, perfect for garnishing, to pistachios that add a crunch to your salads, Bizzini has everything you need to enhance your recipes. Don't miss this chance to impress your palate and your guests with Bizzini nuts, the chef's choice for quality and flavor. There's
So
an
the-
incredible amount of automation that you have introduced to the process, but if you're going back that far, is it the same recipe? Is it the same, way? So you're just using it to scale?
Yes, we truly are using the recipe that we started with 115 years ago. And that's part of the reason why in today's terms of business, it would be very hard to replicate anywhere else. We have some other tricks and some other things that are differentiators for us, but that's a really big one for us.
One thing we didn't talk about is, where does the milk come from?
Oh, that's a good question.
Yeah, so we're a farmer-owned co-op, 65 families in the Tillamook area, most of them in Tillamook County. I do like to point out, Tillamook is a town, but it's also a county on the Oregon coast. And the word Tillamook is indigenous for land of many waters. So when we talk about buying milk, they all supply milk to Tillamook. We have some other production facilities. We have one in Bourbon, which is a little bit eastern Oregon, 2.5 hours outside of Portland. They do some jack production there. They also do some cheddar production there. And we have great streams on milk. But the process and the dynamics of kind of inbound milk, which again, cows are milked a couple times a day. Milk trucks are moving through this area constantly. These farmers go out and they milk cattle on Christmas morning, right? As that's coming in, managing what we need to produce, what's being produced for today. Sometimes we're in a position where we have to offset milk, although we try to avoid it. So milk is headed maybe to Boardman, or milk from there is maybe headed here. That's a big management piece for us. Thankfully, I don't have a lot to do with it, but logistically, it can present some issues because the shelf life on milk is so quick, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're essentially trying to make cheese with milk in 24 hours.
The milk's delivered in 24 hours. It's already in the cheddaring process.
We're starting that process.
That's
yeah.
great.
Yeah.
All right, I want to eat. Let's eat some cheese.
Hungry.
Let's hear more about this. And as we go around, I want to taste stuff.
That's
as we do it.
I'm familiar with it, so you guys please help
so
yourself.
The first thing I'm going to try is a cheese curd.
Yep.
I think
is that the way we should go?
Yep, absolutely. The next option here is you have our medium smoked cheddar. So this is aged 60 days. It is really smoked. It's actually a loaf that is at a little different shape than our iconic 2-pound loaf. It's still 2 pounds, but we cut it a little differently to maximize the surface, to make sure that you can get maximum smoke adherence to it, and it's actually cold smoked on site on real hickory.
With real wood.
Yeah.
Delicious.
Moving forward, you've got
good.
a smoked black peppercorn white cheddar. Now this cheese, because it has an inclusion, it's
I love this.
pasteurized milk.
This was my pick, by the way.
It was?
It was.
I'm not surprised. Sorry to interrupt you,
You're
but
fine.
this reminds me of eating like cacio e pepe pasta.
100%.
Like
You could even like grate some on top of a cacio e pepe.
not a bad idea.
It's got a really great melting point. The cheese is not smoked. The peppercorns are smoked. So if you apply some heat, they actually kind of release some aroma too. And it's got this very like savory, meaty, mushroomy, steaky vibes going on.
I want that on a burger.
That's really good. Okay, what's next here?
What's this?
That's our icon. That is the sharp cheddar, aged 9 months, sharp yellow cheddar. Again, it's the one I use the most.
Oh, so good.
It's flexible.
It's perfect.
It's an incredible cheese.
It's creamy.
So good.
This beautiful building here, we joke that it's the house that Cheddar built. It's actually the house that medium and sharp cheddar built. Right?
There's a little tang at the end. Like I'm getting the
delicious,
like some acid here,
Yep.
which I love because that's what makes you want to eat more. That's when
Acid.
you know, like you start to salivate,
Mm-hmm.
and that's when you go back for more. You're doing a good job, Josh.
Thank you.
Wow. Now
Thank you.
we're in like
and the fact that we looked at it before we started tasting made our mouths kind of prepare for what we're doing here and made it a little more official.
This is
that the English?
Yes.
That's sick.
Crazy good.
This is a very special one for us. It was kind of a passion project of a cheesemaker of ours who was here for 50 years and has since retired. But it's a sweet English style cheddar. It's our shot at making more of a kind of European style cheddar. We use a different culture than we do for our normal cheddars with it. It's got a great age on it, and it's got some great terracine crystal to it. It's bringing in some of that textural component with that crunch of those crystals.
That's funky.
And then last but certainly not least, you've got a 2012 cheddar, which becomes about the crystals in it become almost a textural component, right? Like 50% of that bite is like kind of crunch, which is fun to use in a salad, fun to use.
Yeah.
12 years old. It's intense.
It's rich.
Slightly bitter, but when I say bitter, I mean that in a good way.
Yeah. There's tang.
Oh, it's so damn good.
Wow.
You get some eggy notes, you get some brioche notes. It's still not. You did say bitter, and that is a characteristic of an aged cheddar, but we feel like the bitter is actually
It's a good bitter.
It's a good bitter.
A lot of times people say bitter and they think it's like not good. Bitter is a good flavor.
Absolutely. Bitter's having a moment right now.
What would you pair that with to drink, Andrea?
Ooh.
Insider tip. This may sound a little crazy. Take a chunk of it and put it in about a 2-finger pour of bourbon and let it sit for about 30 minutes. Now, what happens, if you think about bourbon from a flavor standpoint, it's actually dragging salt a lot of the time. It could use a little bit of salt. Chef background, I think about seasoning everything from coffee to anything else. What happens then is the bourbon will actually leach some of the salinity from the cheese, but best of both worlds, kind of additions to both, the cheese kind of softens that kind of punchiness that it has, mellows out. It doesn't compromise on the flavor, I don't think, but it kind of softens the blow of it. And so if you let it sit just at room temp for 20 minutes and then kind of sip at that and then eat that piece of cheese, it's a totally different experience, not just for the cheese, but for the bourbon also.
Yeah.
The bourbon will kind of leach out some of the viscosity too and gets a little thicker.
Yeah. It kind of reminds me of like a blue cheese stuffed olive in a martini.
Yes, absolutely.
So adding that salt, and it almost adds like a little umami to it too.
Yep, for sure.
Okay, John, which one was your favorite?
I
You
there's
can't
no
pick?
way I could pick
I actually
a
think
single favorite because they're all so unique and different. I loved both of the aged ones.
The English cheddar was crazy good.
But the regular cheddar, amazing. They're all. I can't say a favorite.
Right.
I mean, I would definitely also the one that I thought tasted like cacio e pepe with the pepper, and it's brilliant.
And
the curds are fun too.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like now I'm seeing
That's
cheese
a loaded
curd
question.
trucks and poutine and all those things. Ooh, I love it.
So beyond cheddar, you guys are making amazing ice cream here. It looks like I've had it. It's delicious.
Yeah, we haven't even talked about
what
ice cream.
What are the other things that are being made at Tillamook here?
We have a line of yogurts. We have a line of cream cheese, both tub and brick. We have butter and salted and unsalted. We also, last year, we launched our first effort into the space of like a consumer retail frozen product with 4 offerings of stone fire, like flatbread style pizza.
You had cream cheese, I think?
Yes, absolutely.
At Chef's Warehouse, I know we carry the ice cream, the butter, and obviously the cheddars. We should look at those cream cheeses. I mean, what a lovely product that
it's hard for me to say that because I'm from Philly, but the clean label makes it for me.
Thank you. The ice cream too. I love to tout that when an operator buys a 3-gallon tub of ice cream, that is the exact same recipe and it's filled out the same line as our family style that you would pick up at the grocery store, right? So some competition will actually build a different ice cream for food service than they do for a retail offering because you can kind of cut corners a little bit on a food service offering, or they think they can. I'm so proud of the fact that that is not the case. You go looking for our Marionberry pie ice cream at the grocery store, and you compare it to the Marionberry pie you bought in a 3-gallon tub for your restaurant. It's
Same
identical.
Thing?
Yep.
That's awesome.
Yep.
Now, Josh, getting a little personal, when you became a chef, did you ever think that a job like this would be available?
That's a great question. So I started cooking the day I turned 14. I started in a kitchen as a dishwasher, small little restaurant, and I was enamored by kind of the adultness of it, right? And as I continued my career running independent brick and mortar restaurants up and down the Oregon coast and a little bit in Portland, and then I went to culinary school, but I'd been cooking for some time when I went to Oregon Culinary Institute. I ended up spending about 14 years at a very high-end ocean view place in a luxury resort town called Cannon Beach in Oregon, and just had a great time. But I think I learned the craft of hospitality there more than anything else, which I really, really loved, right? And I was doing great there, and I was happy, but I knew that I could coast my laurels out a little bit and ride that out and be fine. But I felt like I was young enough. I wanted to push a little bit, and so I got to be really strategic. And I remember I had a conversation over some time with myself that was like, what's the ideal job? And it was literally, I wrote it down. It was, I want to be a brand advocate for a brand that's out there like walking the walk, not just talking the talk, right? That's living their values and producing a product that they're proud of, right? I want to be the guy that can go out, talk to consumers, whether that's in restaurants, retail consumers, and I want to just kind of preach the love of that brand. That was the perfect thing for me. That's not the job Tillamook hired me to do, but in my interview, I talked about kind of where I wanted to go, and that caught them off guard a little bit, but they noticed. And 2 years ago, I got to write my job description for this position, and that is essentially what I do now, right? So I'm like the happiest guy in the world. I have a lot of corporate chef friends that do this for brands that are great, but wouldn't inspire me as much as this brand does because of this product, because of our ties to the community, because of our history, and because of the talent of our colleagues.
It's kind of a dream job, and I have to say you do an exceptional job with it because you mentioned the hospitality. The tour we took, we could see and feel how much passion you have for this place. And I mean, it's just a stunning facility. And walking through here, we could feel. I think I definitely felt the love of the product,
absolutely,
the place,
the animals, they're the animal husbandry. You care about every single piece. And I think when we at Chef's Warehouse talk about our partners, that's how John and I feel about our jobs in Chef's Warehouse. We know that we sell the best products. So when we go out and we're talking to chefs, we can be proud of, what we're offering. So to have the conversation with you, it just...
And I think it also shows in the final product. This isn't what I would call it's by no means a tiny artisanal production, but these products, we always talk about what makes something taste good, and it's there's love and care in the product. These things taste I'm it's small batch product.
Right.
It's not small batch.
Right.
But
I mean, we've had how many English cheddars, John?
Yep.
And this to me is, right up there.
I keep salivating when I'm looking at this because I want more. But it's these are artisan quality products produced at a bigger scale.
Yeah.
And I think that's awesome because if you can make this and the entire United States can have it, can you get this at every Chef's Warehouse in the country?
Yep. It's a national item. So if you're a chef and you're drooling like me and John, you can go to our website, chefswarehouse.com. You can immediately pick up your phone and call your sales rep and place an order at a
And if you're in the general public, these are widely available.
You can go to your grocery store.
Is it any supermarket? Is it Whole Foods? Is it everywhere?
We have some great relationships with grocers from across the country. You'll find us, they're kind of so regional, right? You'll find us in Kroger's. You'll find us in Publix.
Yeah.
You'll find us in Walmart. We like to play in that space of premium but very accessible. So strategically, we want to be everywhere that our consumers are going, from Publix to a Walmart experience. We're in 80% of the grocery stores in the country now.
Oh, wow. It's so good.
Thank you. And, you can go to Tillamook.com, and we have a couple cool tools on the website that will actually show you what should be live inventory in your area. So if you're looking for a certain flavor of ice cream or a certain type of cheese, you can kind of search it in your area, and it should show you that they should have it or do have it. And we also do a direct commerce website as well. So we do some great promotional stuff on there where you can buy bundles, especially ahead of the holidays and things, for gifting or for celebrations at your own home.
I'm so glad we came here.
I know.
I am such a believer now.
Absolutely.
You know what else is going to make me a real believer?
What?
If I have some poutine or something.
Oh, yeah.
This.
I did see downstairs they have grilled cheese and fried cheese curds.
Oh, gosh.
I don't know. I'm hoping that Josh hooks us up. But I had one more question, just in terms of innovation.
Yes.
Because, you've been around for 115 years.
Yep.
What's next?
Yeah. So, I don't think that for us it's necessarily new categories. I think it's expanded offerings within categories, and because we're such a heavy retail company, sometimes those retail R&D efforts have to happen that then we can bootstrap a more food service launch of a product into. We're going to continue to innovate, but I will tell you that we move slow, and that's very much on purpose, and sometimes it can be a little painstaking. But when you have this heritage behind us and you're working for farmers, and we are so cautious of that and cautious with how we're moving their business. We refuse to take gambles on things or take risks on things. We vet processes almost painfully, but at the end of the day, it's to protect that way of life. And so, we're now back to a cadence of product launches every new year, right? Every Q1. We did 4 or 5 last year, and we've got another 3 to 4 coming this year. We're back to seasonal ice cream flavors, which I love to see, and that's a great way for us to vet a new ice cream flavor maybe, and then maybe add it to the more permanent catalog. You're going to continue to see some development with us. I think we have some legs to maybe push that pizza and frozen mac and cheese offering also, and kind of see, there's a few different opinions, and we may end up fist fighting about who's going to win. But what would maybe be next that a consumer could go to a grocery store and find on a grocery store shelf from Tillamook? So. Lots of great things to come. I just love that we're cautious about it, and we don't jump on fads, and we tend to move like a locomotive.
I was going to ask if you are looking at food trends and saying, okay, these are the flavors, hatch chili has been really popular, sriracha, I guess hot peppers, but truffle. Are you Are you looking at
Yeah,
that?
so I am asked to ideate almost constantly is a huge part of my job, and that's for restaurant operations, sometimes as big as 700 or 800 units, and sometimes as small as 5 to 20, right? Which is a very sweet spot and a spot we like to play. We have access to all sorts of tools. We have a food service team that has a dedicated consumer insights person, has dedicated marketing efforts, has dedicated demand strategy, dedicated sales strategy enablement, and then national account managers that are spaced throughout the country. That is part of the best thing of my job. Like, I love restaurants. I love the people that run them. Like, to do a deep dive in someone else's operation, and then to latch onto some tools that we pay for. And one that I've been working with lately that I'm still just scratching the surface is TasteWise. And TasteWise is interesting because it scrubs a whole bunch of data off the internet and tells me, like, okay, pastrami. Well, pastrami has a 47% positive year-over-year social impact change, right? Which means people are talking about it. That's restaurant menus, that's social media posts. So to kind of drag some of those out, and I was very cautious even 6 months ago about some of this AI help, but I'm learning to embrace it. I'm learning to use it as a tool and give me like a starter for an idea, right? Not necessarily an idea. It's never going to give you the perfect idea, but it'll give me kind of where to point my creativity to go. So, through this, I get to really like understand these operators. And then the other favorite part of mine is that we talk about it, along with 1.2 million visitors to this building every year, comes a food offering. So I am also like an operator. And while I don't have like day-to-day responsibility there, I still can relate to people that are out on the streets, and struggling with product availability and procurement and labor pools and talent of the labor they're able to get, and how to craft a menu that they can kind of cover, and dead sales periods where they're doing big business at lunch but nothing at dinner, or vice versa, right? And so those things arm us very well to be kind of a full suite of food service operator solutions. We have put a lot of effort into, like, we want to be selling solutions here, right? Like, not this product. The product, as you saw, can almost sell itself.
Sure.
Right? I want to be jumping in and helping operators fix problems that they're having and talking to them. And because I truly love the business of restaurants and hospitality.
I think that's so important right now. I think since COVID, I think offering restaurateurs solutions has been something that we've been focusing on.
Sure.
Labor savers and whatnot. So to hear that, Tillamook is doing that as well, pretty cool.
The value added ideas are great.
Absolutely.
And so much is true with your product lineup too, is like helping operators tell that story, because so many of them are doing amazing things, right? Whether it's an option to make this one crazy thing in-house when they wouldn't have to, or to slice all their own cheese, or to grate all their own cheese, or to source this really cool flour. I think that there's value in doing that, but if you're not telling that story, we
what's
need,
the point?
Yes, exactly. You're
it's
paying
a missed opportunity.
A premium. It is. So how are we helping them? Give them a canvas to put Tillamook on the menu, and then let me show you or help you to tell the Tillamook story, because that has a halo effect to everything else that you're doing in your restaurant. And nationwide now, I can say your consumer recognizes that name and will pay you X amount more for a Tillamook cheeseburger than they would for a cheeseburger.
Absolutely. Wow.
What a place. What a visit. I cannot
I'm
thank
a
you
believer.
enough for having us here. We already talked about it. We got all these cheeses. We've got the butter. I think we even have the Tillamook ice cream in Portland, Oregon.
We in 3-gallon buckets.
Yeah.
So if you want to add it to your menu,
you can't go wrong with these products.
Absolutely not.
So good.
Thank you, Josh.
Josh, thank you so much.
I so appreciate you guys
pleasure.
coming out. I know it's a trip, but it is such a special place. I love going places and preaching the love, but like to get people to come and actually see it is a totally different experience, and people walk away stunned with our commitment to this community, right? And
if you are if you come to Portland, Oregon for anything,
take the drive.
Get in the car, take the drive. It's beautiful, and this place is absolutely a destination. That's why 1 million people are coming here every year. It's awesome.
Let's go eat some cheese.
Thanks so much. Ooh, more cheese. Yay.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Ingredient Insiders. Follow us on Instagram at Ingredient Insiders. You can find the products we discussed on today's episode at chefswarehouse.com or at your favorite specialty retailer.